Hey everyone, welcome to a special Boardside podcast card review episode with myself and SpecimenGwent. How you doing, man?
Yeah, mate, I'm alright. Feels nice to be recording some Gwent related stuff. Yeah, mate. I'm good.
Yeah, for sure. I'm excited, man. So this is for the upcoming expansion, which is going to be out probably a day after this video goes live. As of recording this now, all the cards aren't quite out yet, so we're going to do as much as we can. And then maybe stitch some at the end, we will see. But so what we're going to do is start from the first revealed cards and go up from there. So you can see the first one's on screen now. And we will just scroll up. I don't know if we'll do like ratings.
Yeah.
Like if we want to do like star ratings or like out of 5 or something. Or if we just say like this is good or not. But
Yeah, I have not seen these cards, like 90% of them as either. It's probably worth mentioning. So I'm pretty excited, I'm not gonna lie. So you've got my sort of fresh reaction, and then Zade is probably be able to tell you like a bit more in depth about it, like sort of the synergies and stuff. Whereas I'm sort of looking at them for the first time. So I'm sure there'll be a few like fanboy moments from my Witcher days where
definitely.
yeah.
It was cool that you haven't seen a lot of the movie. Very visceral. There's some crazy ones. So
That's nice. I'm especially excited for some Northern Realms action.
Yeah, there's some good ones. I think you'll be excited.
Cool. Let's go, man.
So let's just start then. Let's start with Stunning Blow. A few uninteresting ones as the first, like, I mean, I don't want to say uninteresting, but not like, you kind of expect like the first revealed cards to be like, like groundbreaking. And Stunning Blow here is, it's a card. It's nothing crazy.
Yeah, that looks decent, to be honest.
Yeah.
Sort of like comparable, I guess, to like a Tony Joust. Skellige's version.
Yeah. So damage unit by 4, and if it's got armor, increase it to 7. So armor is obviously returning with this new expansion. So this can be kind of nice if a unit has like 1 armor and you're doing 6 damage. But if it's got 3 armor, then or like 5, the more armor it has, the worse this card gets, right? Past 1. So yeah, I think it's fine. Probably nothing crazy. A lot of these cards depend on how prevalent armor is going to be, really, which is it's hard to say. Like a lot of the most of the cards have armor, but whether they're going to be, every deck's going to have every card with armor or not is going to have to wait and see.
I mean, you could just put it in your deck though, right? 4 provisions for 4 damage seems pretty good overall.
It's the thing with 4 provisioning Gwent cards, like even if they're garbage, they'll often see play just because like they're 4 provisions and you need to have some 4 provision cards, which is cool. It's a good way to have like cards that are not necessarily that good still see play.
Yep.
All right, let's move up. All right, here we go. This is a bit of a crazier one.
Oh, hello.
So this is the Greater Brothers. It's a syndicate card. 10 for 7 with 4 armor, insanity. A lot of text on this guy.
Oh, I've seen this one. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of text.
That's cool.
Yeah, so as you'd expect the card to work with Fee, you would think that Fee 2 means you would lose 2 health, right, and get 2 armor. How Fee is worded is it just says it damages itself. So as it's worded, it sounds like it would damage the armor, but that doesn't make sense. So I'm pretty sure you basically pay 2 coins to lose 2 health and gain 2 armor. That's how I would presume this would work. Because if you're losing 2 armor to gain 2 armor, it's doing literally nothing. So
it's cool that they've got a high body card, right? I like it.
Yeah, it's a big boy.
Cool. Yeah, I like it. 7 provisions, high risk, high reward, I guess.
I mean, even if you do pay the 2 coins, it's still an 8 for 7 with 6 armor, which is pretty good. And then obviously the exposed text is destroy self, so exposed in a new keyword. So if you lose armor, then that exposed ability will trigger. So at 4, it's a pretty nice value for an opponent. Deal 4 damage, take out 10 power is pretty nice. But if you can give this more armor, it's probably gonna survive. So I think it's pretty decent.
Nice, cool card art.
Yeah, there's some great card art in this expansion, man. Probably some of my favorite so far. Really good.
We're supposed to have all the premiums straight away. Am I right in thinking that, or is that
no? I don't think so. So I think they did say that there's going to be some that are coming a bit later, which is fine. I think like they obviously just take so long to make, and the quality is so good that I'm happy to wait. So next one, this is our new Defender card, first Defender card. So another new keyword. So Defender is, if you're familiar with like Hearthstone, it's like taunt for an entire row, basically.
That means nothing to me. I'm gonna be honest.
Okay, so basically, it's basically you can't target anything on the row until this guy's dealt with.
Okay.
Everything's
Wicked.
untargetable. So it's very
That's
powerful.
really-
It's a very
So
powerful ability.
just for the row, yeah.
Yeah, just for the row.
Nice. That's really
Um,
cool.
Yeah, so it's very strong. It's a status, not text, so you can purify them and remove it, which is
Oh wow,
probably
that's even
important,
cooler.
important to note. Yeah, so
Yeah.
a lot of people are worried about it being too strong. I
Uh-huh.
think the fact that you can purify it, move it,
Mhm.
just kill it, is probably going to be enough.
I mean, all I'm thinking of is Keltulis, mate. Straight away. I like it. That's a cool
Yeah.
card.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
simple. You know, it's like monsters. It's like
Uh-huh.
big body, big armor, big troll.
Even if it's like, even if it's overpowered or anything, which I'm not sure, but even if it's not, I just like the design of it. That's really cool. Opens up a lot of interesting things. Cool.
Yeah, what I'm thinking, I've been thinking about for a while with the Defender is, and apparently, like people have said that apparently Avalak is being changed, but I haven't heard anything about it. There's no word of what the change is going to be, but apparently people have said that. So what there, every faction is getting a Defender card, I believe. So the thing I thought was that, okay, well, let's play Northern Realms, let's play Kalanth, let's play the artifact that gives Zeal, or a siege support or something that gives Zeal, and then you play Avalak,
Petri's Filter.
and then you play Avalak and a Defender card in the same turn. You give a Defender card immunity, and then that whole row has immunity essentially.
Yeah, that's disgusting, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think, I mean, Avalak immunity is just problematic, right? It always has been, always will be. So
Yeah,
I'd like to see Avalak get changed.
yeah, I'd
And,
say he
I'm
would
sure
be.
that- yeah,
Like,
yeah. That doesn't sound.
I
the
think
one, does it?
that combination is too obvious and way too good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think immunities doesn't really have a place in Gwent, to be honest. Like, it's been
Yeah.
fine, like these last few months since Homecoming, it's been all right, but it's always going to be a problem, I think.
Yeah, I think I agree. Avalak's it limits like a lot of design too, having Avalak in the game. So yeah, he's probably gonna get the nerf hammer, or at least the rework hammer, with this expansion. Next
Okay.
up, this guy.
Shall I read this one?
Yeah, let's alternate it. So you can do this guy.
Dwarf Berserker Barricade. I don't know what that means. At the end of your turn, damage self by 1, then damage a random enemy unit by 1. Barricade. Oh, and I guess that counts. That'll just damage his armor as well, right?
Yep. And so barricade, the ability basically is if you have armor, then this ability triggers.
Wicked. Cool.
So I think
Seems like a cool
I think this guy's pretty good.
Nice to see some dwarfs in the mixer.
Yeah, cheap too, 4 provisions, and along with some of the other cards that you wouldn't have probably haven't seen yet, but I have. This guy's like better than he looks. He's already looks pretty good.
I like it. I like the dwarfs. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, and I mean like with like it's not like you basically get 5 turns of damage, right? Because if you don't do anything else with it with 5 armor, and it's probably not often you're going to go that whole 5 turns anyway. So I think he's going to get pretty good value. So I like him. Next up, this is a weird card, man.
I've seen this one. Yeah.
Yeah, people may recognize it from Thronebreaker as well. The art, Knickers. It's a beast. It's a bandit, which is actually significant. There's a bit of bandit synergy going on in this expansion, which is interesting. So we'll see about that. This is a weird card. So it's 3 for 9, with 1 armor, neutral, it's legendary, and the text is very like it doesn't really make any sense what the text means. So it says this unit may raid the battlefield to aid you in battle. It's like, huh?
So my understanding of it, right, it will just come out sort of at some point.
Apparently,
it's just going to come out of your deck, like it's going to happen. So if you don't get it round 1, I guess you could get some scary round 2 carryover with it, and if not, then you'd get it round 3.
Yeah, I guess so. It just seems way too unreliable, right? Like it feels like a meme card, really.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be nice in like an arena type thing though. Seems like a cool card though.
Yeah, it is interesting. It'd be cool to see like if it's ever worth running. It's essentially a roach you can't control.
Yeah, I mean, with that, the key thing is gonna be that round 2 carryover, right? I mean, it's 3
Mm.
points in round 3, but it could get you that extra card,
Yeah,
round 2 if you're looking to avoid the dry pass.
yeah, it'll be interesting. I was keen to see how it, like, if there's any like likelihood of it. Maybe maybe it's more likely for round 1 and it or whatever. I don't know, but yeah, it's
Mhm.
an interesting card nonetheless.
Cool.
Good art.
Uh, yeah, definitely. I recognise this next boy.
Yep, he's a classic.
Yeah, my guy.
You gonna take him?
Yeah, go on. So Redanian Elite, boost self by 6 on the deploy, so it goes up to 7, and exposed reset self. So once its armor's gone, it goes down to 1. Cool.
Yeah,
I like it.
yeah. It's solid enough. Hey, like
Mhm. Mhm.
boost up. A lot of these cards remind me a lot of Disgraced Brawler, the Skellige card from Crimson Curse that is a Bloodthirst 3 destroy self.
Mhm.
Oh no, sorry,
Mhm.
Bloodthirst 3 lock, and if it Berserk 3 destroy self. A lot
Yeah,
of these
I know
cards
what
are
you
like
mean.
that
Mhm.
because it's essentially they have armor, and then when they get damaged by 4, something bad happens.
It's cool though, right? You sink 4 damage into it, you get 6 value, but you're obviously not actually destroying an engine either. So
Mm.
I quite like it.
Yeah, no, I
Seems
think
cool.
this is a decent card. Like, I don't think people would often like put 4 damage into this guy unless there's
Mhm.
really nothing else to do. So you're probably most of the time getting a 7 for 5 with this dude. So
Yeah, yeah. And if they are, then your engines hopefully will be good.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, I think it's decent.
Nice.
I love this next card, man. I love this.
Okay.
This is the Arnfien Crossbowman. Pronunciation probably terrible, but it's a Nilfgaard card. 3 for 5, 2 armor. Great art. Ah, it's so good.
Yeah, that is a
Such
nice
cool
one.
text. So deploy, damage the enemy by 2. All right.
Okay, I've got
Barricade.
that bit.
Yep. Barricade. So it comes with armor, so you'll get the barricade immediately.
Hmm.
Damage a random enemy unit by 1 whenever you play a soldier.
Morvan Vuris.
There's a lot of soldier stuff um, with this, and I think this
Okay.
is pretty decent. Like it's not like insane, but in the soldier deck, I think it'll fit very very well.
Nice.
Yeah, and then obviously if they remove the armor, you can just give it back armor, and then you'll get that ability again. So
Hmm. Hmm. Okay.
this one,
Next up, living armor. It's a construct. This neutral, right?
yep.
The unit's power is equal to its armor. Neutral, 12 provisions, 10 strength, 10 armor. Thoughts?
Corintha.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow. Yeah, yeah,
that's
yeah.
my thoughts with this guy.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's interesting.
yeah.
Corintha is really what I'm
I like
thinking.
it though. Yeah,
I was trying to
that's
think of
cool.
other like kind of those kind of combos with this. Like obviously, cards that give armor will essentially just work as a boost on this guy, which is probably better value than normal.
Hmm.
Um, it's resistant to bleeding. If that's ever going to be a thing, because bleeding goes through armor, but it's also resistant to vitality, which is probably
Hmm.
outweighs
Hmm.
that. Yeah, I don't think this will go in every deck because it's a 10 for 12, which is not that good. But yeah, with like Corintha especially, I think this could be
Hmm.
ridiculous. It's just how likely
Yeah, I
that
mean,
that
there's nothing
combo
wrong, I
is.
don't think, either with having some big bad boys and monsters as well for that high provision cost. Do
Yeah,
rate it. That's pretty cool.
but it is expensive. 12 is a lot, but
Hmm. I mean,
it's
what would
cool
you go for though?
nonetheless.
Would you go for this, or would you go for old spear tip? Which would you prefer for the provisions?
Yeah,
I'd argue
it's
it's around here, right?
yeah, it's a good question. I mean, I don't want to spoil it, but there's a card coming up later on that I probably prefer to both of these, but we'll see about
Okay,
that.
cool.
It's cool.
Okay, nice.
All right, next up we have Tempering. It's a Scoia'tael special. It's a nature card, apparently. Dwarves are natural, so that's why it's a nature card, I guess.
Of course, yeah.
4 provisions, boost an allied unit by 5, and if it's a dwarf, also give it 2 armor. So nothing crazy.
Okay.
5 for 4 special is like fine. The fact that if it's a dwarf and gets 2 armor is pretty okay with that dwarven guy we saw earlier, the
Hmm.
berserker,
Hmm.
because that essentially will translate into 2 damage. So that's a 7 for 5, which is better.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's whatever.
Okay, next up we have raiding fleet, which is a 7 provision Raid card for Skellige. Give an enemy unit bleeding for 4 turns and play a random bronze ship from your deck. Okay.
Interesting.
So it's thinning. Yeah, thinning and a bit of bleeding as well.
Yeah.
Seems pretty good.
Yeah, I feel like you wouldn't put this in like a deck that runs a ton of ships, right? You would just have 1 or 2 very specific ships that
Yeah,
you would
because I
want
guess
to
a lot
pull.
of them have. Would this would still count with deploy ships as well, though, right? I mean,
Yes. Yep.
there is the whole like Skellige ship archetype they're going. It'll be interesting to see if this. I imagine if you're trying to play a ship archetype, you would still whack this in.
Yeah, you may just do it just to play a ship.
But what you're right in saying,
A
if you're
bronze
using
ship
like
though.
the standard, I think they're dim and light long ships, then you could easily just whack this in your deck for that. That little bit of thinning is pretty nice as well for just 7
Yeah.
provisions.
Yeah, I agree. And the art's pretty cool. Can you imagine if this just played any ship? You just pull Wide Bar of the Sea every game. That'd be so good. Next up, oh, this guy is sweet. Afrin Hilligrand, Nilfgaard, 5 for 9, 1 armor. He's a soldier. Pretty much every Nilfgaard card's a soldier, I think, in this expansion. If moved to the top of your deck, summon this unit to the melee row. So immediately you're thinking like Morvarin, put a soldier at the top of your deck, summons him. Yep. Ulbrich and Fisher King. You know what I thought is be pretty nice with like Vikavaro Novice, the guy that draws a card and then puts a card at the top of your deck from your hand. That I think he's 5 for 5 bronze. It's pretty nice with this. That's like a 10-point bronze play, which is pretty good.
I mean, you could whack a few couriers in your deck as well, just to be safe as well. You could put this on top of a courier. Quite a few ideas. Seems like a really cool card. This is a tri-art as well, right? I think I saw this.
Yeah, the Shroud's so good.
That's weird they're bringing them back. I like it though. Like that was sort of my first into Gwent was like the tri-art card, so I like it.
Yeah,
Even
I'd like
we've
to.
Not got 3 copies. You can do it in golds now, right? So.
Yeah, I'd like to see each faction get one. Like Monsters have had the Crones for a while, and I think Scoia'tael's getting one this expansion as well, and Nilfgaard. So eventually we'll probably see one for everyone, which would be cool. But yeah, this is the right flank of the tri cards. I think that's very cool. Ooh, next card. This is my card. You can do this.
Oh, no way!
Yeah, this is my one.
Go on, you take it away, mate. I don't want to steal it.
All right, okay. It's the Draga Egg, Insectoid. 4 for 4 monster card. Deathwish spawned 3 drones on this row. So pretty decent if you're running a consume deck, and there's a lot of consume stuff going on in this expansion, especially with Insectoids. Insectoids are like kind of the new hotness with this. So by itself, it's like whatever. If you consume it, it's 7 for 4, which is pretty good. But there is some like specific synergy with more Insectoid cards, which make this a decent bit better, which we'll get to later. But obviously, because it's my card, it's 10 out of 10.
Yeah, I have to agree with that for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, next up we have Vess. Oh no, it's Troll. Who's
it's
never
easy
had
to get them
Vess graphics,
confused.
but Vess has been nerfed to be more like him. A classic. So he's Zeal, Order, lose all armor and boost self by that amount. Resupply. So that's whenever you play a warfare card, right? He gains 2 armor. So lose all armor and boost self by that amount. Seems pretty good, right?
Yeah, and I think Northern Realms are getting a lot of armor stuff too. Well, I mean, everyone is, but if you just play him, he's a 6 for 7. And if you want to give him more armor, then he's more than that. So
I'll be interested to see. Obviously, I'm sure some of you know, but like what other warfare cards come into it, and see if there could be some sort of archetype with that. Because there's a few decent warfare cards, but you weren't really able to make anything too decent in the most recent patch with them. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with warfare and resupply and all that stuff. In the next patch.
Yeah, for sure. And one important thing to note with this guy is that it is an order, so you've kind of got to stack them up and then trigger it, and then that's it, right? You can't do it again. Yeah. So, but you can still just gain him armor even if you use the order, so to protect him. Next up is Mutated Hounds. It's a syndicate beast. A lot of text on this guy. Beast, Mutant, and Salamandra, which is the new Syndicate crime faction. Deploy melee. It's 3 for 4 with 1 armor. So pretty cheap. Deploy melee, give an enemy unit bleeding for 2 turns, and deploy ranged, which I think is far more significant, poison a unit. So a bit more poison synergy coming in.
I mean, the fact that you've also got that option to do that 2 bleed as well, if the poison's not on, that's pretty good, right?
Yeah, having like poison on such a cheap and versatile unit like 5 for 4 is really fine for a 4 provision card. And the fact that you could maybe just poison like a 15 point like something is it's good value. I think it's a decent card.
So I have to ask you, I've noticed it's got armor. Are there quite a few cards that sort of just have armor now for no real reason? Like
I talked about this. There's a card that I think later on that is even more hilarious, because I mean the dogs has he's wearing like steel.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
like,
yeah, that makes sense.
But there's cards later on which don't look like they should have armor, and I was just kind of thinking like I don't really care, but it's like this card has armor.
That makes sense.
Why?
Yeah, they've got armor. Yeah.
But like just because it's the armor expansion, but then like we've got cards from the base game that are in like full plate armor and don't have armor.
Yeah, well, I was going to ask about that, if there's any news on whether old cards will get armor. I suppose not at first.
I don't
maybe
think so. Like not this expansion anyway, because there'd be a lot of like balancing issues, I guess, with like damage being way worse. I'll mention the card when we get there. It's it's a bit funnier. All right, you take this guy.
Okay, we've got Dwarven Charlotte. I think, hope I've not butchered that. Deploy, spawn a rowdy dwarf on this row, or bonded. So if you've got both of these, spawn 2 rowdy dwarfs on this row instead. What's a rowdy dwarf, Zade?
So we just found out actually. It's a token, 2 power, 1 armor.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah. It's fine, but there's another card later on that makes the rowdy dwarves better. But even just by itself, like, it seems right. Yeah.
I do like a bonded card as well. I think they're pretty cool. So
me too. More bonded cards are good. There's really only a few. There's only like 4 bonded cards, right, in the game right now.
Yeah, so, there's not loads.
More bondeds are good. All right, we've got Mantlet. It's a machine, apparently. It just looks like a piece of wood to me, but it's fine. So it's a siege engine. It's a neutral. 4 power, 5 provisions with 1 armor. Melee, whenever you play a unit, give it 1 armor. And barricade, give it 2 armor. So that's pretty cool. There's a few cards like this that, like giving armor on deploy. So I mean, you've got like one of these on the field, and you play Trollolo, like the new Northern Realms dude. Then he has like 4 armor, as soon as you play him. So I don't know if these are going to make it into decks, but maybe, you have a full armor deck. I could see including this, and even if he does lose his armor, you still get 1 per turn. So
again, I mean, I know not many people play it at the moment, but like Arena as well, it's a nice pick for Arena.
Yeah,
probably.
Yeah, especially if you get that armor synergy going. So yeah, I don't mind it at all.
Okay, next up, another classic, Redanian Knight. I'm so happy to see this guy back. Barricade, ranged. At the end of every ally turn, boost self by 1. So if it's got armor, it boosts self by 1 at the end of the turn.
That's a cool
Exposed, move self to melee row, and then damage the highest enemy unit by 2. Okay.
It's a lot to unpack there,
Yeah. Yeah. So it's an engine for 1 point a turn. But then if you disrupt the engine, it will move, which will sort of stop the point per turn, but it will also give your enemy 2 damage. So it seems alright. I mean, I guess as well, if it could hit armor and stuff like that now, but for 4 provisions, it seems pretty reasonable.
Yeah, I think it's really good, honestly. Like you said, it's an engine by itself. So if it's unanswered, then it'll just get a point a turn, which is pretty crazy for a 4-point bronze, a 4 provision bronze. Yeah, and then it's just got 1 armor, and so if the armor's removed, then it does the 2 damage. So like, absolute worst case scenario, this is a 5 for 4. In most cases, it's probably quite a bit more than that.
And I mean,
So
there's quite a few boosty cards in Northern Realms that would synergize with this that you don't see that often, like Scytheman and Trident Infantryman, that
mm,
maybe could become half decent. Obviously, Draug as well. It has that human synergy, but
yeah,
that's
very
still
good
like a
point.
pretty
Well,
good
like
card.
Visigood, boosting itself. That's like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's not insignificant. So yeah, I think this will be a
Hmm.
pretty big staple card going forward. Natural Selection. This is a monster special for 4 provisions. This card's kind of bad in my opinion. But anyway. Damage an enemy unit by 4, then spawn an Arrakis drone on a random allied row for each excess damage dealt. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's like, for each excess damage seems a bit harsh.
Hmm. Hmm.
So it's like
Hmm.
you deal 4 damage and that's it. You deal 3 and you
Yeah.
get 1 drone. I mean,
Yeah.
maybe.
To be honest, I don't really want to see cards like this though become like 4 provision. Just put it in your deck. So I'm kind of glad it's not very good in many ways.
It's
Like
fair.
you might be able to include it, but like I feel like cards like Tourney Joust, where they're sort of like, yeah, okay, sweet, that card's really good, and it's 4 provisions, and it's
Mm,
damage. I think to these sorts of cards should be a little bit worse because they shouldn't be easy to include in your deck. So I'm kind of happy it's not that good.
that's
But
fair.
you're right, it doesn't seem very good.
That's fair. Yeah, maybe you could include it. And like I said, there's a lot of insectoid stuff going on. So maybe it's worth including it just
Hmm.
to maybe get an extra drone or two. So
Hmm.
we'll see.
Okay, up next we have Battle Preparation, which is a tactic. What faction's that? Where am I
I
getting
think
that?
it's Nilfgaard.
Nilfgaard. Okay.
Yeah.
And yeah, it does look like a Nilfgaard. Boost an allied unit by 3 and give it 2 armor. If it's a soldier, boost it by 5 instead. Pretty much.
Yeah.
So it gives 2 armor no matter what. If it's a soldier, boost by 5.
Pretty
If not,
similar
boost
to
by.
that Scoia'tael card
Yeah.
earlier on. I mean, you're
And
probably
it's a
always
tactic.
boosting yeah, it's a tactic, which isn't insignificant. You're
Hmm.
probably always going to boost a soldier, so
Hmm.
yeah, I think
Or even
it's
if you
fun.
don't boost a soldier, you boost like an engine that the armor's going to help
Mm.
with as well quite a bit. So something like a fire scorpion on.
Yeah, and there's a lot of cards with like Nilfgaard soldiers that have barricade as well. So
Hmm.
um, yeah, it's a pretty decent tactic. I think the fact that it's a tactic is actually like pretty
Yeah,
good
pretty important. Any tactic at 4 provisions, I feel like is always going to see some play just in an Ardle.
for sure.
Um, yeah. So.
Yeah. All right, next up, Iron Falcon Footman, another bandit, another human. Pretty simple, 4/4 barricade at the end of every allied turn, boosts up by 1. So he doesn't start with any armor, so it's just a 4/4. But if you do give him armor, then he'll be boosting 1 every turn, which is pretty good.
That card art looks so cool, by the way.
It
I
is
love
really
that.
cool. Yeah,
That
that
is a
is good.
wicked card art. That's probably my favorite card art I've seen so far. Actually,
Really,
I'm gonna throw out there. Yeah, I don't know. There's something about that card that's really cool.
it is cool.
Like the colors in it. Yeah. Okay. Next up, another ship. At the so it's 5 provisions, 4 power, 2 armor. It's called an armored Drakkar. At the end of your turn, if armored Drakkar has no armor, gain 2 armor. So if it's exposed, so it's got no armor, it will boost self by 1. Bloodthirst 2 boosts self by 2 instead. So if you've got Bloodthirst 2, it boosts itself by 2 every turn if it has no armor.
Yeah,
Right?
there's a lot of text on this guy. Eh?
Yeah. So it starts off at 4. If you can get rid of the armor, it's going to boost by 1 every turn, every time you remove the armor.
Yep,
Okay.
or two if Bloodthirst 2. So yeah,
Yeah, which
there's
is not
there's
that.
a lot
It's not
going on with
difficult.
this guy.
Yeah. I mean, especially in a ship deck, right? That seems pretty easy to have Bloodthirst 2, realistically.
Yeah, and I mean if you're playing this with or the raiding party that Skellige special that plays a random ship and it has bleeding,
Hmm.
you can probably set up a Bloodthirst 2 pretty easily.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. I'm quite excited actually to play some Skellige ships from the patch drops. They
Me
seem
too.
pretty fun. I mean, I'll be honest as well. Like ship premiums have always been just like
Yeah,
tier 1.
so good.
Like they've just nailed the sea, the way the sea looks. So,
Agreed. Yeah, I think this card is pretty good, honestly.
hmm
Especially just
man,
with like
I'm so
self
excited for
damage.
this. Yeah, I'm so excited for this patch now. I've seen all these cards. Woo,
Oh, dude, you just wait.
let's go.
We haven't even seen the best ones yet. There's some insane ones.
Oh my goodness.
This guy is. I'm going to butcher this pronunciation for sure. Fifon. This can't be pronounced that. Fifon. Var
Fifth one.
Garnell. Nilfgaard, human soldier. 2
Smash it.
power, 2 armor, 9 provisions with defender.
Hmm.
And on deploy, he spawns and plays a battle preparation. So that's the card we just saw before. Boosts a soldier by 5 and 2 armor, or 3 if it's not a soldier. So if you just play the battle preparation on this guy, then he's a 7 for 4 with defender for 9, which is pretty much the same as that monster troll. But it's versatile in the fact that you can boost someone else, which is pretty cool.
It's a really cool card. I like the fact you've got soldier and tactic, so it's not just limited to Ardor or Morvran. You can really go with both either, which I do like cards that can be included in a variety of decks. And let me just say that card art is gnarly. Oh
So
my
that's
goodness.
the is that the left? I think that is the no, that's the middle. I think that's the middle of the tri card.
So it's that's so cool. So it's the tri art, and
Or
it's got
it
that
might be
gnarly.
the left flank actually. I'm trying to remember.
That is nice.
It's good.
I like it.
One other thing that's worth mentioning is that since you're spawning a card, this is an assimilate card too, when you think about it.
Oh yeah,
because it's a card
So
that
it
does
does
start your deck. Yeah, so it's like it fits with like every single like Nilfgaard archetype, which is pretty cool.
Seems like a very cool. Seems like a very well designed card, and
Yeah,
I
it
do love
does.
that new defender tag. So you're saying there's one defender in each faction, right?
I believe so. Yeah.
Or something like that. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm seeing a warfare card up next, which is sort of what I'm intrigued by. Northern Realms. They introduced warfare last patch with or last expansion with not too much support, but let's see what this one's saying. So
before we do this one, actually,
on.
this actually has different text on their website, so I'm not sure what one's good. We'll just do this one. The other text is some 4 damage row movement thing, but we'll just go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, Mad Charge. It's a warfare card, 4 provisions. So, why not include it if it's half decent? Boost an allied unit by 3 and give it 2 armor. So boost an allied unit by 3 and give it 2 armor. But if you control a knight, also give it vitality for 2 turns. I mean, there's quite a lot of knights that you're going to be using already anyway in Northern Realms. There's a lot of decent knights, like Prince, Einsis, etc.
Does just seem like a worse battle preparation because it's vitality and not boost. That's why the text on the other one is better, in my opinion. I think that's the one they're going to go with. If I'm trying to remember off the top of my head, I think it's basically the Brover ability, move a friendly or an enemy, and it's boost or damage by 4. I think.
I mean, also like with Troll, it's giving that extra 2 armor as well because of the resupply. So it's triggering anything with resupply. There's not really many other cards that make good advantage of that resupply type thing at the moment, though. So
that's a good point. Actually, it's a nice little combo. Oh, this card's scary, man. Draga Lava Monster Insectoid. This is a Necker with 2 armor for 5. Essentially. So yeah, 1 power, 2 armor, 5 provisions, thrive, spawn a base copy of this unit and summon it to this row. So it's a Necker that costs 1 provision more and has 2 armor, and it's an Insectoid. I think that 2 armor is pretty significant.
That is scary.
Yeah.
I think also, like, if you were to just look at this card at face value, it's like, yeah, that's pretty balanced. But then you've also got to bear in mind that anyone using this is also going to be using 2 Neckers as well, right? That means that's 8 thrive cards at 1 strength because they double themselves, right? Neckers and this come out with 2 each, so that's pretty scary. But I'd like to see Thrive make a bit of a comeback anyway. So
me too. I think cool. Monsters can have some scary cards.
Yeah,
and there's another couple of cards that are pretty crazy with this. So yeah, I think it's good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Next up, we have Piercing Missile. So this is I want to say it's neutral. I'm trying to work it out.
Yeah, I think it is.
Damage an enemy unit by 4, ignoring its armor for 5 provisions. So it's sort of comparable to like your Northern Wind bombs.
Yeah, it's the bomb. It's the armor bomb.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I mean, maybe it'll see some play like at the start of the patch. You might want to whack into your deck, but after like this expansion's gone, I wouldn't really see it doing much.
It might pop in like every so often when someone like, some big streamer makes like an armor deck. Everyone's better chuck in Piercing Missile.
Important card to have in the set though.
Definitely, yeah, I agree, 100%. Boat Builders. It's a Skellige human pirate. Deploy. It's a 5 for 5. Deploy. Give 2 armor to an ally. Order. Give 1 armor to an ally. If you control a ship, gain Zeal. A lot of these like three lined cards have a lot of text to them.
Yeah.
lots to
Yeah.
keep in mind.
hmm
Thoughts?
I don't really know, to be honest. I'll just be honest. It seems all right.
Yeah,
It's a pirate, so yeah.
yeah.
I mean,
With
it's one of those. It's just going to depend on synergy, right? It's 5 for 5, and you're getting probably 3 armor. Like no one's really going to destroy this after the. They're not going to stop your order coming in, so
I don't think
you're
so.
getting 3 armor
And if you've got
a
a
turn
ship,
later.
then it's
Oh
just
yeah, that's
like that.
true. Yeah.
Yeah, there's some later cards that do synergize with this a bit better, so
Mhm.
we'll see them soon.
Okay, next up, mutant killer. So this is a salamander, and it's a mutant human as well. So this means it's syndicate. It's a 4 strength, 5 provision card. On the deploy, it's damage an enemy unit by 1. However, if you have 7 coins in your bank, it has horde 7, so it damages by 3 instead. Yeah,
This,
I think that's quite a cool card. I mean, it's not that often you've got those 7 coins, but it does
yeah,
seem pretty scary. It does seem a little bit scary.
I don't know. I think this card's garbage,
Yeah,
personally.
okay. Yeah, I don't know what I'm talking about.
No, like differing opinions is good. The only reason I think it's garbage is because Renegade Mage exists, which
Uh-huh.
is it's 3 for 4, so it's 1 less power but costs 1 less, and
hmm
it does 1 damage. And Tribute 1, it does 3 damage. I think
Yeah.
this guy's just way too overpriced.
Yeah, it doesn't seem that good.
But in saying that, 3 damage isn't significant, and if you're gonna
I
have
mean,
9 coins anyway, like throughout the
yeah.
game, then
hmm
maybe it's good.
I mean, most of the time as well, though, if you're looking for 3 damage, it's going to be quite early on in the round. If you're like, damn, I really need 3
Mm.
damage, and that horde 7 is I mean, you're probably not going to have 7 coins when you need the 3 damage. Yeah,
Yeah,
you're right. It
I,
doesn't seem
I,
like a very good card.
the way I could see him working is if you had like you're playing a horde deck, right? You've got all the horde cards. You start the round, you play like
hmm hmm
Siggy and go to 9, and the Redanian comes out, and then you've got all these cards in your hand. Like, all right, horde 7, horde 5, like let's do this.
Yeah, I
And
mean, I
in
guess
that
always a way
case,
of looking at these sorts of cards as well is could you include it in a cleaver shoot deck? Maybe. Don't even know if you would then. I'm finding it quite difficult to like evaluate the effectiveness of cards. So it's good that you're honest with me, and I'm like, yeah, that's scary. And you're like, nah, I don't think so.
I mean, you
It is
can
good.
like what I love about card reviews is that most of the time, not most of the time, a lot of the time, like the calls are just totally wrong. Like
Yeah,
there's a great market in making videos of reviewing card reviews and being like, haha, look how wrong we were. So
yeah,
like we'll probably come back to this, and this guy might be like the staple of every syndicate deck, and you could be like, I
yeah.
told
I
you.
mean, it seems unlikely.
But who knows? At least
Okay,
the art is really cool.
yeah, the art is cool.
Poor guy.
I'm gonna let you take this next one.
All
I'll be
right,
honest. I'm looking forward to this.
this is a good card. So this is Glynis Ap Lornak. God,
Oh, you smashed that. To be fair to you,
you think?
yeah, you did well.
Yeah, well, thank you. Human Soldier, Nilfgaard, 4 power, 7 provisions. It's a gold card. 3 armor, assimilate 2. So good to see some more
Nice.
assimilate synergy coming in. First
Yeah, I love
assimilate
that
2
simulate
card.
too.
Mm.
Yeah, that is cool. It's like the I'm trying to think what it's called, the boar type thing from Syndicate that's
Skewer Tooth.
yeah, Skewer Tooth. That
Yeah,
that card's kind of cool as well, so it's pretty
yeah,
similar to that, except Assimilate's a lot easier to get going, I'd say. Especially in an all out Assimilate deck, it just makes that
yep,
kind of deck better, right?
yeah,
7
definitely.
provisions isn't much, and it's a soldier, so you've got those synergies in there as well.
Yeah, no, I like it all around. Solid card.
Okay. Next up, we have Miner, which is a dwarf. 3 strength, 5 provisions, and it has harmony as well. Ooh, that's pretty scary.
First
Deploy.
Harmony Dwarf.
Damage. Is it the first harmony dwarf?
I
Wow.
think so.
Damage an enemy unit by 2. If you control a rowdy dwarf, ignore its armor. So it doesn't seem that amazing, but I mean, the harmony's always kind of scary, right?
Yeah,
Harmony's just pretty good, generally.
yeah. I think
So
the
the more
Harmony
harmony
tag
cards, the better.
makes it decent.
Uh-huh.
And if you have like a rowdy dwarf deck, which I don't know if that's going to be any good, then ignoring its armor is like we don't really know really how good that is. It may be great. It might be totally irrelevant.
I like the simplicity of its name as well. Simply
Yeah, it's
just
just
Miner. I like it.
minor. It's just what I do. I mind.
Uh-huh.
Uh,
Okay.
oh, this card is cool, man.
Go on, you
Armored
take it.
Crab Spider. It's an insectoid. It's a monster card. Monsters are getting some big cards, man. I'm a fan. So it's a 6 for 8 with 2 armor. Deploy, apply bleeding to an enemy unit equal to its base power. So
Okay.
that spells value to me.
Yeah, I mean the key thing obviously with bleeding as well, Purifier's making like quite a big
Yeah,
comeback, right? With like all the poison around as well.
yeah.
So it can be
It's,
purified, and also you've got to like use it somewhat early to actually get mad value off it, but it's definitely a great card.
yeah, and especially with this expansion, like Purify getting rid of Defender, everyone's going to be running Purify. I guess it's just like what you want to use your Purify on. But even then, if it does get purified, this is an insectoid, and there's more insectoid synergy later on. So it's just cool. It just looks good too.
It
So I
does.
like it.
Okay, next up we
like
have Munro Bruise. Yeah, something like that. He's a 7 strength, 11 provision, and he has a 1 armor. So that's 7 strength, 11 provisions. On deploy, he transformed 2 allied rowdy dwarfs into dwarf berserkers.
So
Zade, I have one question. What is a dwarf berserker?
So it's actually, I had to ask this the first time I saw it too. It's actually that dwarf we saw as in the first couple of cards, that 2 power, 5 armor, deal damage dwarf. He's right at the start.
Okay.
Go back here.
So the one that's got, whenever it's got armor, it damages by...
Yeah, by 1. By self and then enemy by 1. So if you can turn 2 rowdy dwarves into 2 of these, it's pretty good. It's kind of like a Horson senior for Scoia'tael, kind of.
I mean, anytime you're putting 2 engines down on the board as well, even though they're, I mean, you can even have them on opposite rows, I guess, so you could play outside lacerate and stuff. Anytime you're putting 2 different engines down on the board as well, it's just sort of value because your opponent can't really answer 2 things at once. So
100%, and really no setup required. Like you obviously need the rowdy dwarves, but you don't need to like. Have like some elaborate combo. Like if you've got cards that just play rowdy dwarves, you can just play this guy.
And is this a triart?
Yeah, it is. Yep. So we haven't seen the other 2 yet. We've only seen this guy. But these guys were in the trailer, I think. So you've seen all 3 in the trailer. Expensive though, son. If they're all going to cost 11, like it's a lot of provisions.
Yeah. I mean, you'd imagine if they're triarts, you'd want to include them all in the same deck, right?
So, yeah, you'd assume so. So yeah, I know. We'll see. Yeah. It's cool though.
I guess it wouldn't be completely surprising if you do have a card that's like just include this, but not the other 2 in some decks. I mean, there's very few cases that will be the same with Crones, but I mean they're very synergistic. Whereas I guess things could potentially, like I mean that Nilfgaard Soldier one. That's if it's on the top of your deck. I mean, I feel like you could easily include that in certain decks without the others.
Yeah, I agree. All right, Kickamore Queen. Man, this is a really cool card that I'm scared is too expensive to see play, but it's so cool. So it's a monster card, legendary, 5 power, 2 armor, 11 provisions with Thrive. So Thrive on a fairly high power unit, which isn't ideal, but the ability is pretty insane. So whenever Thrive of this unit is triggered, boost all allied insectoids on this row, which is not as cool, by 1. So again, like Corinther is probably like
that's exactly what was
the way to go. Yeah,
with the defender type thing as well.
Yeah,
you've got a defender down. Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn, I like it though. I do like it. It's like you're really setting plays up with the whole defender thing in a card like this.
Yeah, there's a lot of you wouldn't just put this into any monster deck for sure, but I think you could make a deck around this guy, and even if it's not very good, it'd be pretty fun.
For sure.
Yeah, so sure. I like it.
Okay, next up we have another rather simple name, Assault, which is a crime. And it's
Thank you.
I do like these simple names.
Assault, which is a crime.
Just to clear that one up. So it's a 4 provision crime. Damage an enemy unit by 4. If you control 2 Salamander units, deal 6 damage instead. Okay, I mean 4 damage for 4 provisions, and it's a crime is pretty good anyway. I would say not amazing, but definitely not bad. And then also, I do like this sort of thing where if you've got 2 units on the board, you're dealing 6 damage. You're not going to be able to do that 6 damage round 1, so it's not quite as good as it otherwise would be. So I actually quite like the design of this card. I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think it's good too.
Any card that requires sort of you to have units on the board and it increases its damage. I always thought I link it back to like Black Rayla, who like if you've got humans on the board, she does more damage. You can't just like use this straight away and remove anything you want, but like if it's like turn 3, you might have set it up and then you can get rid of a pretty sizable engine.
Yeah, 6 damage
Seems pretty good.
is a lot. Yeah, the setup required kind of makes it balanced in a way. So
yeah, if it was just straight up deal 6, it would just be in every deck. Whereas that's specific decks you've got to include it in, but also it's not even that good. It's not like, I mean, you never want a 4 provision crime card to be that good. I feel like that's a big problem Syndicate had when it first came out, with cards like Swindle and all those sorts of things that you can just put in your deck and they are just really good anyway.
Yeah.
Whereas that's sort of more what you'd expect for a crime card at 4 provisions.
Yeah, no, I like it.
Mm-hmm.
Highwayman, neutral. It's a human, it's a bandit, it has armor for some reason. This is the card I was talking about. I don't know why this guy has armor, he's just got a little mask, but sure. Decent card though. So 3 power, 1 armor, 4 provisions, and deploy, deal damage an enemy unit by 1. If it has armor, deal 3, damage it by 3 instead. Pretty good for a neutral card.
Yeah, the armor there is questionable, isn't it? But it is not bad at all for a neutral.
Yeah, like I feel like this would make more sense just as a 4/4 and not worry about the armor, but whatever.
yeah. Oh, well.
Decent neutral card though.
Don't think I'll ever play that card, to be honest. But
yeah, if everyone runs armor, I could see it seeing a bit of play, but yeah.
I mean, yeah. Again, it's a neutral 4 provision card, so it's pretty much what you'd expect, right? Okay, we have a Wagenberg next, which is, I want to say neutral, and it's a 3 strength, 3 armor, 5 provision card that has barricade. So at the end of every allied turn, give 1 armor to adjacent units. So it's giving armor to adjacent units if it has armor itself.
Yeah.
And it's only 3 strength, 5 provisions. So
yeah, it's fine.
It's not bad.
It's like a lot of these cards depend on how significant cards having armor is. So like if barricade ends up being like super important, then this will probably be good. But otherwise, it's whatever.
Yo, what is this thing?
This is the guy. All right, this might be my favorite card of the expansion. I love this card, man.
Another big boy.
Jurgen, monster, another big boy. 13 power for 10 provisions. Oh. Deploy, gain armor. That's in the sectoid, by the way. Gain armor equal to the number of cards in your hand. If this unit has no armor, destroy self.
Ooh, I like it a lot.
It's a cool card, man.
Yeah. That is very cool. So you can't just abuse Thrive with it at the end.
No.
I mean, you could if you wanted to be super risky, but it's an early card to put down, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of ways you can do it. So you can play it early with like a 9-card hand, and obviously that opens you up to some pretty big like removal punishment. But also, you have 9 armor, so it's probably not going to get damage down. It might do. Or you just play it at the end as like your second to last card with 1 armor, just as like a almost last say kind of thing. I think honestly what I could see using this in is a deck with obviously Osriel, because just playing this kind of like sometime in round 1 is like a big power card and then consuming it later. Or Weave S that consumes a card in hand. I could honestly see that too.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the other thing that did just come to my mind is Caranthea again, which it seems like Caranthea is pretty good, but like Caranthea with Goliath. Is it Goliath? I don't think it is Goliath.
Oh, you mean the cross-faction card? Ah, yes, Tatterwing.
Yeah.
Oh,
Tatterwing, yeah, maybe.
I like that a lot.
How often are you going to pull that off? But you'd have a ton of armor with it, right? The big problem with Tatterwing a lot of the time is like if you put down like old spear tip, it's just going to get destroyed. But this could have like 9 armor.
Actually, hold on. Does Caranthea play or spawn? Because if it spawns, this will just die as soon as you play it. Damn.
Okay, moving on.
That would have been so good. Oh,
moving
that's
on.
unfortunate.
That didn't happen.
Oh, that'd be so cool though.
I'm gonna have to take the
Unless,
Northern Realms
what if
one.
you, what if, okay,
Go on.
hold on. What if you've got that card that gives armor when you, no, it wouldn't work either because it's spawn. The thing if you give armor like when you play a unit, if it gave it armor,
Hmm.
you know what I'm saying? And
Yeah, I do.
there might be something there. There'll be a weird combo in there.
Yeah, yeah, I see what you mean. Well, we dreamed. Ooh, so I've just sort of tried to skip ahead because it's Northern Realms, which
Yep.
I'm pretty excited to see these. It's a Redanian archer or Redanian archers, 3 strength, 2 armor, 5 provisions. It has a zeal, and it has a few other things going on. So its order, if you play it in the ranged row, is damage an enemy unit by 1, and that's actually a charge as well. So it's damage an enemy unit by 1 with a charge. Also has a zeal if you play it in the ranged. And then it also has barricade. At the end of every allied turn, gain 1 charge. So if it's got armor, you play it in the range row, it gains a charge each turn. Now that, I will be honest with you, is pretty cool because I do love a card that gains charges. Dandelion is a card I just want to see more of, and this is like one of those cards you could actually use with Dandelion,
Yeah,
which is pretty
this is a
damn
scary
cool.
card, man. Honestly, I feel
Yeah,
like
I
this
like
is the new like Northern Realms machine gun card for
Yeah,
sure.
because I mean, I've been playing quite a bit of reinforced ballistas where they gain a charge if you play a warfare card. That is actually
Mm.
one of the one cards that's pretty good with warfare. So I wonder if you could get something going with warfare. This dude,
And this kind of
Dandelion.
just seems better than reinforced ballista, right? Like it's like
Yeah,
where
yeah.
like with the
You could use
zeal
them both,
too.
honestly.
Yeah,
Yeah, you could use them both.
yeah. Like the zeal, I think
Yeah,
is
you're right.
pretty important.
Yeah, because one of the really cool things actually about reinforced ballistas is the fact that you can play it front row and you get the zeal, or it's because
Mm.
it's got So this again would work quite well with like a Vernon Roach deck where you're using the sword because you've got a guaranteed way of damaging Roach down to 2 without. If you're just playing
Mm.
Arbalists, you're kind of risking them getting destroyed. That's like
Good
one
point.
thing the reinforced ballista's been quite good with. So I think this seems like a really cool card. Actually, I really like the design of it
Yeah,
with the armor as well,
I
gaining
think
the
it's
charge.
very good, very good card.
Cool.
A lot of one thing I noticed, a lot of good Swears targets in this expansion. A lot of 3 power cards with armor.
Oh yeah,
So I think Swears is going to be
definitely like that.
having his heyday pretty soon.
Nice. I do like Swizz, even though he's filthy, filthy.
He is a
I
bit
do like him.
filthy. All right, we have the middle card of that triart. You can see the sword on the left side where that dude cut off the dwarf's head. That's his sword, and coming through the
Oh yeah,
left.
I see. I see.
So and this is actually a Nilfgaard card. The color is Northern Realms. There was a bit of an issue there.
I saw McBeard was given this one to reveal, right? And then it
Yeah,
turned out it was Nilfgaard. That is a kick in the teeth.
yeah, that's funny.
It's not like it turned out to be monsters. It turned out to be Nilfgaard. That is
Yeah,
wow. Poor
yeah.
McBeard.
So no, it is in fact a Nilfgaard card. Raymond Tyrconnell, human soldier, also a knight. 4 power, 10 provisions with 2 armor. Deploy, spawn and play a copy of a bronze soldier from your hand and give it 2 armor. A lot of bronze soldiers. So there's a lot of things you could do with this. I was thinking like Dalaran soldiers or slave
Yep.
infantry.
Yep. Yep.
Probably
Yep.
the main targets.
Hmm.
Or even just like just anything really, like an Alba pikeman or an Alba whatever. Just there's so
Yeah.
many
Yeah.
good soldiers. Like there's so much soldier versatility. I think you could really just play this on whenever you need to.
I mean, sort of just looking at this card as well, what I have to say I really do like is Nilfgaard's coming away from this just single archetype of 3 witches, 2 lots, etc. Like
Yeah.
it's really nice to have different ways of playing Nilfgaard because I've
Mm.
always loved Nilfgaard in the past, but I've never really been a big Homecoming Nilfgaard fan because I think it's just quite oppressive. But it's nice to have these sorts of cards that are opening up different archetypes that
Mm.
aren't quite as oppressive.
Yeah,
Because
actually,
I think it's a bit peak having like one that's just the oppressive faction. So it's nice we're getting some other options.
yeah. It just feels like they're like an army again, which is cool.
Hmm.
Like
Hmm.
all these soldiers
And
and
don't get
stuff.
me wrong, I'm sure they'll still be oppressive,
Oh,
but
of course.
it's much better to have like some oppressive cards mixed in with like cool cards rather than just like the whole faction being built around those sort of annoy your opponent tactics.
Yeah,
It's,
no, I
it's
like him.
nice. Hmm. Okay, next up we have a human soldier, which is also Nilfgaard. It's the Ard Fell Tortoise, as I would call it. I don't know why I pronounce it tortoise. I would call it
Tortoise.
a tortoise. Um, But yeah, it's a 7 strength, 5 provision card that also comes with 2 armor. However, if it's exposed, it boosts the highest power enemy unit by 3, or a highest power enemy unit by 3.
Mm.
So if you do 2 damage to it, it buffs your opponent by 3. This card seems pretty good.
Yeah,
No?
I think so. Like,
It's
because
kind
if
of
it,
comparable to a Nilfgaardian Knight, right?
yeah, yep. But I mean, if we're talking stat for stat, if an enemy soaks 2 damage into this, they gain 3. So let's call that 1, which is better than Nilfgaardian Knight. Nilfgaardian Knight boosts by 2,
Yeah.
and it boosts in higher power, so you can help set up like Leo.
Cahir, anybody? Is
Oh,
this the Cahir patch?
dude,
Seems
didn't
unlikely.
even think of that.
It seems I tried playing some Cahir Spies not long ago. That's probably why I've not played Gwent much since.
I mean, if you can do it again, this card is going to be in your deck for sure.
Yeah, you could throw it in there if you want to mess around with some Cahir. I mean, unfortunately, it's as you mentioned, Avalak's probably gone, but you've got the Defender as well, right? The Defender could actually make Cahir somewhat half decent.
Yep.
Maybe it's
Think
definitely
so.
worth a try.
Good card though. I think this is just you
Yeah,
could just put this in
I think it's a good card. Yeah.
any Nilfgaard deck. It's decent.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Next one. Yeah.
You in it.
Yeah, I'll take this one. Terror Crew Plunderer Human Pirate Skelliger 2 power 4 provisions 1 armor. Deploy damage a unit by 2, and if it's an ally, it boosts self by 4. Yeah, sweet. Self damage.
Yeah.
There's a specific card later on that is like basically works with this. So basically, you're getting 4 provision cards at 6, pretty much guaranteed if you're playing them together. So yeah, I think it's good.
Yep. So you're just damaging something with armor, really, right?
Yeah.
Or unless you want something to be damaged.
Yeah, I mean, the cool thing is that
that's
you can damage an enemy unit by 2, and if you want to damage an ally, then you get the boost as well.
Yep.
So
Which
there's
it's
a bit of
always good if
versatility
you've
there.
got that. Yeah. Yeah.
Which is
Especially with
significant.
like it's a pirate as well. So if you've got like your ships, you're dimming like long ships as well. If you've got something at 3 that you just want to take out, you can do that. And if not, then you've got that points. It's always nice having 4 provision cards that are flexible. It's kind of like a tourney joust that's not quite as I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like I compare most cards to tourney joust, but it's just got that flexibility.
Yeah, no, I'm with you.
Sappers up next. Sappers Human Bandit. This is definitely different to the Sappers we used to have, which used to be a ambush card. Or trap. I don't know what you call it. Ambush. Yeah. So it's a neutral 5 strength, 5 provision. Deploy. Remove a unit's armor.
Deploy, kill that huge monster.
Oh wow! Yes.
And then, maybe one situation that goes on the Dandelion show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. That's very true.
I think it's pretty decent, honestly, as a 5 for 5. Like, it's
Yeah.
pretty fairly standard, and you're probably going to get value out of it, especially at the start of the patch.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure as well you could just whack it in a deck where you want your own things to let armor to go. So there'll be some decks where you want to get armor removed, so you could just use that just in case.
Yep, I think it's decent.
This one is just the best thing ever.
I'm assuming you've seen this.
Yes, I have.
The Lambert rework. Lambert is
Shout
now.
out Bane one.
Yeah, I know, right? That guy doing the Lord's work.
What a guy, man. What a guy.
This is a good card now, huh?
Yep. I mean, it's Gimpy Gowan, right? But it's actually Gimpy Gowan was always Lambert. So it's Lambert as he always should have been. Hopefully we get an Eskel rework now as well. Because Eskel was good at first, but it's brilliant to have Lambert back, honestly. I feel like this card is pretty important to have in the meta as well, because I know when Syndicate came out, they were pretty scared of Gimpy because of Firesworn Zealots. But I mean, this is just a nice card to have. Like, if you look at the problems Draug had, the problems Blue Stripes had, would they have been as oppressive with this card being in the game? No,
probably
they
not.
just wouldn't have. No.
Yeah.
And obviously Draug's caught that nerf, but yeah, this is just really good. It keeps a lot of things in check. Like, you can never have super overpowered Arrakis decks, or and it's just cool, man. And it's brilliant as well that a community member's just like gone for it so hard, like years, mate. I feel like Bane is just in every Twitch chat you go in, he's chilling there about making Lambert great again.
Yeah, no, it's cool. I mean, the good thing is too that in the worst case scenario, this is still a 6 for 9 with 2 damage, which is like not great, but it's not like complete garbage.
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
think, which is almost too good in a way because you don't want it to be an auto include. Like if there's like a 25% chance you're going to run into a swarm deck, like I don't know if you want everyone to be including this, but yeah, I
Mhm,
guess we'll see
mhm.
what happens.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing that I just love about this card is the fact it's one of the first cards I noticed where it's got sort of an Easter egg of sorts, as Kira Metz in the background there.
Oh
That is
yeah,
Kira Metz. That is
there she
Kira Metz
is.
card art. So they don't have any synergy. I don't think they ever really did, but yeah,
It's
it was
cool.
always something I used to do back in the day with Kira and Lambert in the same hand. So it's always nice to have just a card that was seeing no play was useless, and the
Yeah,
fact that it's made that return to how it always was, I really do like it.
yeah.
Feels bad for Gimpy though, right? Feels a little bit
I
bad for
know, right?
Gimpy. But
Gimpy's bad. You know, just as you mentioned before that they're like in each other's card arts. It made me realize like our like webcams and our backgrounds look really similar, and we almost look like we're a dual card art ourselves in a weird way. Because I've got
yeah,
us
you're
next to each
right.
other for the
We
recording, so
do.
it's like that's weird. The wall color is almost exactly the same.
Yeah,
I
that is a good observation. We've both
thought
got
so.
pretty funky curtains as well.
Yeah, yeah. I think I like yours a bit better than mine.
Yeah, well, I'm at my dad's house, so.
All right,
Uh,
you got this guy.
okay, I'm assuming it's Squirtle because it's a dwarf. It's an Iron Falcon.
I think it's a neutral, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think it's a
It's an
neutral dwarf.
Iron Falcon Troubadour. I should definitely know how to pronounce that, but I don't.
I think that's right.
Um, so it's a 4 strength, 4 provision. Deploy. Give 2 armor to a unit in your hand, bro. That big insect thing. If this is neutral, you just
Yeah,
give
I
that
think it
to the
is.
last insect thing, and you can have it last say.
Yeah,
Don't know if you ever would do that, but you could. It's an option.
seems alright. Like, you guarantee a 13-point finisher
Hmm.
with this guy, and you could play this guy earlier in the game too. Play him in round
Yeah,
two,
you could play
round
him
one.
like yeah. Or that round 2, just play a random card that you just sort of don't care about, and it's kind of
Yeah,
carry over in a way.
yeah. I think he won't be just like any deck, but he might fit into some.
Hmm. Hmm.
As carryover is like important in any case. So
Every time I sort of scroll up and see the next card and it's Northern Realms, I just want to go to Northern Realms. I've got to be honest with you.
this is Radovid's Royal Guard, Northern Realms, Human Soldier, 3 power, 4 provisions with formation. One of my favorite keywords, formation. I just really like it.
Yeah, I'm a fan. Big fan.
So order is boost an allied unit by 2. So no zeal unless you formate it, obviously. And then if you are inspired, which means if the unit has a boost already, then it boosts an allied unit by 2 and gives it 2 armor instead. Pretty decent 4 provision card, honestly. Versatility. Works good with Meave.
Yeah, it's a Meve card for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. It's kind of like the Lyrian Lance Connect, the damage card. It's kind of
Uh-huh.
similar, but this is a boost card, sort of.
Yeah, and I mean those two kind of works somewhat decently together. Yeah, I think any card that's formation but also has order,
Mm.
generally speaking, is gonna only see play in Meve. You could, don't get me wrong, you could throw it in like a Calamp deck or something, but generally speaking, there's gonna be better cards when you don't have as many boosts. Whereas with
Yeah,
Meve, you've got sort of more boosts often than you need. So this is a Meve card.
yeah.
Whether it sees
Agreed.
play, I imagine it will in some decks, but not loads. But it seems pretty good.
Yeah, yeah. It seems decent, but like you kind of need to get armor synergy. If you're just playing it for points, then you probably play something else.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Okay, next up we have a Salamander Assassin. So it's a human Salamander, which of course means it is a Syndicate card. 4 strength, 1 armor, 5 provisions. Intimidate. It has the Intimidate tag, so that's where it gets a point every time you play a Chrome card.
yeah,
Is that right?
yeah.
Okay, and deploy, if you deploy it in the range row, which you always would, damage an enemy unit with a bounty by 2. Doesn't seem very good to me.
Yeah, I agree.
Because you can just deal. Yeah, it doesn't seem very good at all, honestly.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. Maybe there's some salamander cards still to come that make it really
Mhm.
good, but yeah, I don't think it's that good either. Honestly, like
No.
if you want to damage bounty, you're just going to damage bounty, and if you want intimidate, then you just run
Yeah,
the
the
dwarves.
intimidate doesn't do that much for it. I mean, I guess it helps a bit, but
Yeah,
The fact that it's damaging an enemy unit with bounty and it's only by 2 as well, like it's pretty restricted. I don't
yeah,
see that seeing any play at all.
yeah. The fact that it has to hit bounty is pretty brutal, I think.
Yeah.
So, yep, I both have to think it's very good. Cool art
This
though.
next card. Ooh.
Yeah, hashtag cutthroat power creep. Sort of, not really though. So it's the Iron Falcon Knife Juggler. It's a neutral human bandit. 1 power, 4 provisions, and 1 armor. And its deploy is give 2 random enemy units bleeding for 2 turns. So yeah, potential for a 5 for 4 neutral with bleeding here. I could maybe see this included in some like super weird like bleeding vampire deck with Oriana. Because you're
Yep.
giving 2
Yep.
bleeding to 2 units.
Mhm.
But it's random, so you could give it to units with bleeding already.
Yep.
It's since it's 2, it means you can't stack it on 1 unit, so you lose value if there's only 1 unit. It's like pretty average.
Yeah, has the bandit tag. Not sure if that means anything, but worth mentioning. I
Yeah,
think he did, but maybe it has some synergy there. Yeah, it doesn't seem
I think
great. It's cool.
it'll see about as much play as Cutthroat does,
Yeah.
which is hardly any, but a
Yeah.
little bit.
I mean, as well as more cards get added, Cutthroat's just going to see less and less play as well, right? So,
Yeah,
wouldn't expect to see that pretty much ever. But who knows? Maybe you'll see it in, like you say, Oriana's definitely somewhere it could
yeah,
actually get some value out of.
yeah, possibly.
Okay, next up we have a Skellige card called the Terror Crew Axe Wielder. It's a human, warrior, and a pirate. It's 2 strength, it is 2 armor, and it's 4 provisions. So for that 4 provisions on the deploy, you damage an enemy by 2, and then if your armor is exposed, so if the armor is removed, damage a random enemy unit by 2. So you get 2 damage on deploy and 2 strength. And then if you can get rid of the 2 armor, it damages random enemy by 2. And there's a few Skellige cards you mentioned before, right? With the one that damages a any unit by 2, and it would
Yeah,
boost by 4 if it was an ally. So they've got
yep,
some synergy.
yeah. Those 2 cards pretty much go together,
And
hand
they're
in
both
hand.
pirates as well, right? I believe.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. It's like a lot of self damage cards. Like a lot of these cards you could just use with like a Spellblood Priest, right, and just send them
Yeah.
on their way, basically.
Mhm.
So yeah, I think it's pretty decent. 4 provisions is not bad.
Yeah,
It's
I
like
definitely think that's not bad at all. Yeah.
this is probably better than that. What's it called? The Svalbard Ravager. There's the guy who is the wolf, and he damages by 2 and does 2 bleeding if they bloodthirst. Whatever, 4 provision. It's 4 for 4 with 2 bleeding conditional.
I think that card's quite good.
Yeah, and I think this guy's better,
At
honestly.
face value, it looks pretty
Even
good.
though it is
Especially-
random on the exposed, but it's damage instead of bleeding,
Yeah.
which is probably better.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's good. And Draga Warrior, this is a pretty crazy card, honestly, considering what we've seen. So it's a 4 for 4 monster insectoid warrior, apparently. Deploy, consume adjacent units, and then spawn a drone on this row for each consumed insectoid. Seems pretty good.
Right. I know it's just me because no one else is going to be thinking this, but honestly, this card is really good in a Eredin Keltulis deck.
every card, I'm like, I love it, man. It's like,
Because
look,
it's like
no one's thinking
there's
this,
never
but this
been-
is good in Catullus, trust me.
There's never been 4 provision cards that consume very well. The only one is the
No. I think it's been
but
any
this-
4 provision consume, is there? Except for the Kikamore Warrior,
The-
but that doesn't really consume.
No, because this takes off 1 unit from your side, right? So it's kind of even better than playing a spell, which like as long as you're not eating insectoids, which in a Keltulis deck you purposely include this not to.
Yeah.
This could be pretty good, honestly. If you're using like the unicorn, I don't know why you would, unless your name's Specimen, but I'm going to be using this card. I'll tell you that for free. It's going in my deck.
I like it. I think it's decent. Like,
Seems like a cool card, yeah.
it's
sure.
yeah, consume for 4 is just good, and if you're playing the insectoid stuff, then like you could just play this between 2 drones, and then spawn 2 more drones, so it's a 6 for 4.
Yeah.
And with the
Yeah.
with the drone bodies staying around too. So I think it's good. It's very good.
And I mean, I'm sure there's a few insectoids with Death Wish. I mean, the one that comes to the top of my head is the I can't remember what it's called, the 12 provision thing that no one ever plays ever. That it's 4 strength, 12 provisions, and if it's in your graveyard at the end of the turn, it comes back onto the board.
Ruin.
Yeah, that's the one.
And there's also that the egg from earlier on that spawns 3 drones as well, which is pretty good with this.
Seems like a good card. Does seem like a good card.
Damn, that means that egg then becomes an 8 for 4 because it's a 4 for 4 and spawns 3, but it will spawn 1 more if it's consumed by this. So that's pretty nuts.
Yeah.
Alright, you're up.
Dryad Enchantress. So it's a Dryad. 5, so square tail. 5 strength, 5 provisions, no armor.
That wouldn't make sense, would it?
Deploy, give an allied unit vitality with a duration equal to its armor. So you could give, I'm not sure how many vitality, but it seems like a pretty good card, honestly, especially as it's a Dryad for something might be good. I don't really know. Square tail's not my strong point.
Initially, I was like, this card sucks, but now I've come around to it, and I think I agree with you. I think this card's actually pretty good. Like, just stat-wise, honestly. Like, if you could just play this on that Dwarven dude with 2 armor. And it's a 10 for 5 if you get all the vitality. So, I don't know if it'll see, like, a ton of play, because it's, Scoia'tael is very, like, refined at this point, but it's pretty good stats.
Looks like it's going to be a very nice premium as well. Kind of like an Arathusa Adept type vibe.
Yeah.
Going on.
Yeah, fair, next up, this card sucks. Mutant. It's a Syndicate human mutant salamander, 3 power, 2 armor, 4 provisions with Intimidate. This card's garbage.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Should we just move on?
Yeah.
Can we say anything? Okay, Wagon. Oh, I'm sure this is going to be incredible just based off its name. It's a machine. It's a neutral, I think. 4 provision, 4 strength. Order. Give an allied unit 3 armor. Deploy. If you control a bandit, gain a zeal. So it's basically, if you're playing bandits, you get 3 armor and 4 strength for 4
might be
provisions.
okay.
You can give armor to a card. Yeah.
Maybe.
I mean, it's better than I was expecting for a card called Wagon. I'll be honest.
Yeah. I like how they've got like some synergy in neutral cards.
Yeah, I rate it.
Because I don't think there's a ton of those right now, like actual tag synergy in neutrals, which is pretty cool. It means you can make all neutral decks easier. Yes. So stoked.
Secret 7th faction.
The bandit faction.
Yeah.
Alright, Terror of the Seas, another Skellige ship. This is a gold, so it won't work with that bronze card. It's a machine, of course, 2. 4 power, 2 armor, 7 provisions with Zeal. Order, lose all armor and damage an enemy unit by that amount. Whenever you play a pirate, gain 1 armor. This is very similar to that Ogre for Northern Realms, but it's damage instead
I'm really
of boost.
far behind. I'm going to have to catch up here.
Yeah, there's a bit going on here. So you get 2 armor, you lose it with an order, and you damage an enemy by how much armor you have. Okay, so if you just play it and use it, then you do 2 damage. And if you play more pirates after and start stacking the armor, you do more damage.
Doesn't seem very good to me. Just seems quite awkward.
It's asking to be removed for sure.
Yeah, it just seems a little bit awkward.
The bad thing is too that... So you go.
I feel like there's just quite a few other cards you'd maybe want to have down on the board before playing this anyway. So like, I don't think this is a very good card because you want to play it early, right, to get full value, to play as many pirates as possible. But then also like, there's other cards you'd want to set up for other synergies. I think this card seems pretty bad, but what do I know?
Yeah, no, I think I agree. I think it might just be a bit overcosted. Like at 6, it would probably be fair. I think 7 might be a bit much because, like, even if you just play this and you're like, all right, I'm going to stack it up, and then maybe they play that card that removes armor, or they just do damage, and suddenly you've got no armor and you can't use it. So, yeah. All right, let's go. If you like Skewertooth in Syndicate, forget about him. This is your new Skewertooth.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got the Dire Mutated Hound. Beast, Mutant, Salamandra. 4 strength, 3 armor, 8 provisions, and a pretty intimidating card art.
Yeah.
Doesn't have Intimidate, though, but it has Barricade.
It should, really, shouldn't it?
At the end of every ally turn, boost self by 2. V4 gain 1 armor. So if it's got armor, it's boosting itself by 2. But then you can also spend 4 coins to gain 1 armor. So you're basically spending 4 coins to get 2 points, but then it also requires an answer. Seems pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, coming with 3 armor too, like, it's not too much that would do damage to 3 armor. This is a pretty beefy card, honestly. Let's just see.
Especially the fact it's boosting itself as well. It's very difficult to remove.
Yeah, and then they get rid of the armor, and you're like, oh, I'll just pay 4 coins, and suddenly it's off again.
I might have to hop on some Syndicate and play this card. This card looks cool, man. I like it.
Yeah, it's very
sort
good.
of away from your traditional bounty type damage Syndicate. It looks pretty interesting.
Yeah, which is cool. I like more of that kind of more different Syndicate stuff. Like,
yeah,
not just
it's the same like I mentioned with Nilfgaard. Yeah, anything that's sort of broadening the ways you can play a faction, I think, is really, really good.
Yeah, I like it. Oh, this next one. This card art is just disgusting. I love it, though. Probably the grossest card art I've seen in the whole game.
It took me a while to work out what was going on. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Me too. I still, like, I'm, like, having to figure it out. This is the Kikawar Warrior. It's a monster. It does look like a Syndicate card, but it's not. It's a 7 power, 5 provision with 4 armor. Melee, whenever you play an insectoid, gain 1 armor. Exposed, destroy self. So it's similar to some of the cards we've seen with that exposed ability, but getting an armor every time you play insectoid. And it's just already comes with 4 armor. I think it's pretty good. But
nice,
man, that art's gross though.
So this is monster. This is monsters, right?
It is monsters. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a nice card for Thrive. Like you're going to be hitting that down later on in the game, especially with all those Thrive type cards. Like, yeah, I think this card's pretty good.
Good target for ghouls as well if you're not running like ice giants or anything. Like,
yeah, let's be honest, you're not running ice giants.
No, not with these.
Like,
the art is so gross though. Oh, it's just atrocious.
Yeah, that's a 9 out of 10 for me.
Yeah,
I like
the
it.
premium's gonna be like pretty gnarly. I kind of hope that in the premium they have like a little Easter egg where one of them walks across with like something funny on it, like a TV or something. But no, it's good. I like it.
Okay, up next we have, I'm assuming, a neutral card.
Yep.
I don't really know how to tell still. I'll work out one day. Boost. So it's called Armorer's Workshop. It's a 6 provision neutral special. Boost 3 adjacent units by 2 and give them 1 armor. No one will ever play this card ever.
No, it's Golden Froth with armor, but
yeah,
no one plays
terrible.
Golden Froth. Yeah. It's so hard to see with those special cards because like the special icon takes so much of like the diamond. It's kind of hard to tell like the color behind it, but luckily we don't have anything too close.
Maybe clear that up a bit at some point. Those I think it's doesn't think it needs massive like the Nilfgaard Northern Realms one's quite obvious, but sometimes I'm like, what is this one?
Syndicate and Monsters I think is the hardest.
Yeah,
they're orange and red. But anyway, next up is the Ardfian Heavy Cavalry. Pretty simple card. I think it's pretty decent. 3 power, 2 armor, 4 provision with Assimilate. So it's kind of like that garbage Syndicate card, but Assimilate is better than Intimidate in my opinion. And the fact it's a soldier, good portal target.
Yeah, I was going to say portal, yeah.
Yeah. Simple, but decent, honestly.
The other Assimilate cards, 4 provisions, 4 strength, right? I don't know what it's called, but like
the Duke Guard, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, you sacrifice the power for 2 armor, which I think for Assimilate is important.
Yeah, I mean, as well, like realistically, if you're playing Assimilate, you're playing both of them as well, so it's pretty nice. It's basically like having 4 copies of that card, but they're just slightly different. I think it's pretty good.
Yep, no, I like it.
Zoltan's Company, hello, nature. Oh my goodness, what is going on in the back? I love it.
Yeah, it's great
art. People at the back.
I don't know.
Really nice for this.
I have no idea.
Spawn 3 Rowdy Dwarfs on Allied Row. So 6 points.
Yeah.
With 3 Rowdy Dwarfs, which we know you can do some things with.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Cool.
It's decent enough. Nothing crazy, but yeah, good. It's going to be a good premium for sure.
And here we have the Rowdy Dwarf.
There he is. Yeah, he looks he's very rowdy.
do love the name Rowdy Dwarf as well.
Me too.
I do rate that. Yeah, that's good.
And next up, War Council, Nilfgaard Special. It's a tactic, of course. It's Jan Calveit's ability and a card. So look at the top 3 cards to your deck and play 1 for 8 provisions. Pretty cheap.
Ouch. Yeah.
pretty cheap to play any card from your top 3. I think it's good.
Thinning is winning.
Yep. Hyper thinning is winning.
Ooh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Ooh,
I like it.
I can see another Northern Realms card, Zaid.
So yours.
Voimir, human soldier. 5 strength, 1 armor, 7 provisions. So he's a deployability, boost an allied unit and all copies of it by 1 and give them 1 armor. Revenant finisher after
Yeah,
Draug.
I guess.
It's
it's kind of a confusing card, isn't it?
Yeah, doesn't seem very good to be honest. Like, would you rather have this as your finisher with Draug, or would you rather have Sabrina? Don't answer that. We all know it's Sabrina. Let's be honest.
Yeah. Or like pay 1
So,
more and get Visigoth or something. Like you can think of the dream
yeah.
scenario. Maybe you've played like 3 Trident infantries with Queen and Dahlia, and then you use this guy, and then it's like wow. But like that's never going to happen.
Yeah, no, I don't think this is going to see much play. Maybe down the line though, it could be a card that a new card gets introduced.
For sure.
Classic Northern Realms was always like swarm, so like maybe if poor flanking infantry, I'm gonna call it as I'm a teacher, is if that maybe sees a rework at some point, you could get some synergy in there. But
Yeah.
like if you had a classic poor flanking, but yeah, at the moment it's a no from me.
Yeah. It's a worse Reamed, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Donmir of Troy. This is Northern Realms Defender card. It's a soldier and a knight. It's 6 power, 2 armor, 9 provisions, defender, and he gets a shield too, which is maybe a good, but also maybe insignificant because if you're purifying defenders, then you're losing the shield as well. So it's. But
does purify get rid of armor then?
No, actually, it doesn't. Purify does not affect armor. They're very clear about that at the start. They're like, no, armor stays.
So I'm just trying to think like what you'd be using to defend, like a Vygotska maybe. Seems pretty good, honestly.
Engines,
it does seem like quite a good card. The whole the fact that it's 6 strength, 2 armor, and a shield.
It's tough to remove if you can't purify
with, right?
it.
It's a lock, if anything, right?
Oh well, lock wouldn't even do anything because they're statuses.
Oh
you
yeah,
have to purify it.
Okay, the defenders are purified.
Yeah. So if you've got no purify, this guy's like your worst nightmare, basically.
That's why you run a Mandrake tech, right?
Yeah. Yeah, 100%.
So I guess the key thing is like if you're using this sort of a card is you want multiple things that need purifying. So you try and bait out your opponent's purify card because it's unlikely they're going to be running multiple. I really do like that defender. I also do like the fact that it's a new status.
Yeah, I think it's cool. Oh, this guy. You're going to love this guy. Holy Christ.
It's looking like a filthy card art. It's Savola, human, mage, salamandra. 6 strength, 9 provisions, no armor. Profit 2, so you're getting those 2 coins in your bank. Tribute 9. Spawn a Savola's Frightener on this row.
Scroll up for that.
Scroll up. Ooh. So it really is a Frightener with 6 armor.
Yeah, it's a 12 power token right there.
Jeez. This
pretty insane, huh?
Mate, that card's crazy.
Yeah.
Good ways. I'd rather someone spends coins on this than Philippa, though. Oh my goodness. So it's like a Philippa, but like not as. It's a different take on her, right? Like she's like your big spender, but this is like it gives you a reason not to include Philippa in your deck, I suppose.
And like you said, it's like a different type of syndicate card.
Yeah.
Bounty,
I like
steal,
it.
Kill. I love it. I think it's cool.
Again, like you're sort of playing into potentially like your opponent's Ozeril, but yeah, don't really know. I'm sure there's some stuff you could do. Oh, it's doomed, yeah.
Yeah, which is nice.
Yep.
One thing is what's it called? Is it Madame Louisa, the syndicate card that gets your next tribute this round is free?
That is pretty scary.
Yikes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I like it. Again, the thing with Madame Louisa as well is like you need to have multiple things to sort of trigger with her
Yeah,
to actually include her in your deck. So I do like it. I do like it.
yeah.
It does seem very good though. Does it really need to be 6 base power, the original card?
It's
I
18,
like
18 points total. It's a big
Yeah.
dude.
Doesn't have any synergy with anything though, I don't think,
No,
right?
that's
Apart
a good.
from Salamander, so
Yeah, yeah. Which I guess is probably, means it's kind of like it's
very
powerful on its own, which is kind of cool.
that is a mad card, isn't it? Who revealed that one, do you know?
Oh, I can't remember actually.
I bet they
It'll
were
be on the
happy with
list
that.
here, but yeah.
Uh-huh.
Next up, we've got Covenant of Steel. This is a cool card. This is the Skellige Defender card. So it's 7 for 9 with Defender. That's a Warrior and a Pirate as well. And at Berserk 6, at the end of your turn, gain 1 armor. So as long as you've got this at 6 or lower, this will just get 1 armor a turn, which is cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, there's not a ton to say about it. I think it's probably in the middle of the pack of like the Defender cards. I think the Northern Realms guy is probably the best. Then maybe Nilfgaard, and then probably Skellige, and then now for monsters, and then Skellige. Maybe it depends. We haven't seen now the Syndicate one or the
These cards are scary though. Is it Sucrus, the guy that I'm thinking of? Some people used to make immune. I do like the idea of getting rid of Avalak and having these Defender cards in. It should open up some interesting decks.
Yeah, I agree.
That aren't like just ridiculously overpowered or anything. This seems pretty cool.
Yeah.
Okay, up next, Armory. 6 provisions. It's a Skellige card.
Neutral,
card.
I think. Yeah.
Neutral. Boost a unit by 6 and give it 3 armor. Pretty bad, but not awful, I guess.
Yeah, it's like whatever.
Uh-huh.
It's like saying what was Sangreal? Was that boost by 6 to give it a shield? So it's kind of like it's the Sangreal of armor. It's probably not going to see any play. You might be right in arena.
Yeah, I mean a swallow is 5 provisions, boost by 6. Are you really wanting that extra provision for
3 armor? Probably not. And a gold card, so you can only have 1.
Yeah.
Next up, we've got Percival Schuttenbach. He's a gnome. He has 7 provisions, not 1, as the art suggests. He's like that Assimilate 2 card, but Scoia'tael. 4 health, 4 power, 3 armor, harmony 2.
My man's got Roach in his hand.
Yeah, there's some other little card. I think he's cheating. I can't see exactly, but I think he's got multiple faction cards in his hand.
Maybe he's playing arena, right?
Yeah, sure.
That is a cool card. I've seen that one on Twitter, actually.
Yeah. I think it's good too. Like the fact that it's a gnome is pretty good.
What's the reference as to the fact he's playing against a suit of armor? I don't really get that.
I'm not sure. Is that
maybe like playing against some sort of, I don't know.
No idea.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
It's a good card.
I'm sure there's something in there that we're missing. If anyone knows, let us know.
Yeah,
it's got to be a
please
reference.
Do. Has to be. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, next up, Draco Turtle, Beast.
I like this.
6 power, 6 armor, 12 provisions. Whenever this unit loses armor, boosts health by the amount of armor lost. Pretty.
It's kind of like an Olaf that just triggers whenever you damage it, sort of.
Yeah.
When you think about it.
I just want to see the premium. Let's be honest.
It's in the trailer actually, very briefly. And it looks so cool. I'm excited.
Yeah, that is nice.
Yeah, I think it's good. Like you remove 6 armor, it's a 12 for 12. If you give it more armor and then remove it, it's the options are limitless. So yeah, I like it. One-Eyed Betsy is an Ogroid and a bandit. Neutral card, 4 power, 2 armor, 10 provisions. Deploy, damage your enemy unit by 4, and if it's got armor, damage it by 6 instead. This is pretty decent, honestly. It's like kind of like Regis, Bloodlust, sort of, which is also a 10 for 4 damage 4. Obviously has the banish at the end, but this also has 2 armor and it does a bit more damage if they have armor. So I think this will see a decent amount of play, honestly.
Yeah, I guess you're right. I looked at it first and was like, this is not very good, but you're right. It's in line with Regis, right? I feel like Regis is slightly more useful.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, depends on how many armor cards have been played, right? So, yeah, Pretty cool
Yeah,
card.
I think a lot of people will have this like in their decks like the first couple of days for sure.
Yeah, I mean, any card that's deploying and dealing 4 damage is pretty good.
Yep, 100% true.
Okay, next up, Free Company, Human Bandit, Sin...
Neutral.
Neutral. I'm not good at spotting these neutral cards. So is the little orange, purple bit, is that neutral? Is that...
No, it's the color behind the number on the left. It's just like tan. The neutral
Okay.
color is just like the tan color. So it's like whatever.
Okay. Yeah, it's 6 strength, 8 provisions, 1 armor. Deploy, boost all allied bandits by 1. Is that
The all
Ogiard?
bandit deck is coming.
Is it Ogiard there in the back? I don't think it is. Maybe I'm tripping. No, I don't think it is. I thought with the sword it might be.
I think it.
I'm loving...
No, I think it might be because I'm pretty sure he's in a later art too.
Okay.
That isn't
I mean,
out
he
yet,
is,
but it was on
yeah.
Reddit.
Okay.
Yeah, it looks pretty good. Yeah, the all neutral bandit deck is coming.
Mm-hmm.
Heed my
Oh,
words.
oh, I'm excited. I've just seen the next card art. I know this guy. I think. Do I know this guy? Maybe I don't.
The professor.
Yeah, I don't
Syndicate?
think it's who I thought it was. I was thinking it
Salamandra?
was the guy from Witcher 3. That it's definitely not him. I don't think that the bookcase falls on without wanting to spoil anything.
I think I know who you're
No.
talking about, but I can't remember his name or what scene he's
It's
in. He
not
does
him,
look
it's fine.
familiar.
Yeah,
This is a
that
great
guy was
card
blind,
though.
so it wouldn't. Yeah.
So it's a 6 power for 8. Is it 8? No, 11. Sorry, 8 would be way too good. 11 provisions. Deploy, put a bounty on an enemy unit and damage it by 3. Tribute 3, ignore its armor. This is a really good card in my opinion.
Yep.
I think it's really good.
I mean, bounty's always good, right?
Yeah, I mean, any card that gives bounty is probably going to be pretty decent. The fact that you could give bounty and just kill it immediately and get coins, especially if you've got, like, you could set up a higher power unit down, like take it down without your opponent really knowing what you're doing, and then you just play this and kill it and get their base power of coins.
Yeah.
I think it's great. Quite expensive though.
I also don't think it's too. Yeah, I don't think it's too good for the fact that it's provision so high, which is pretty important.
Agreed.
Okay, next up we have Endraga Queen, which is an insectoid, 5 strength, 1 armor, 7 provisions. The deploy effect: consume an allied unit and gain its armor. That's pretty cool. And the barricade then is at the end of your turn, damage self by 1 and spawn a drone on this row. So if you consume something and take loads of armor, then you're basically going to be getting... You're losing 1 armor a turn for a drone. So for 7 provisions. Is this gold? It's gold, right? Yeah.
Yeah. 7's cheap, man. Like 7 is pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is a pretty great card, honestly. And at worst, you're getting 1 drone if you don't consume anything. Obviously, you do have to consume something with armor if you want the ability, but you don't have to, which is nice.
Yeah, and I mean, you can always just... I'm sure there'll be ways to give it armor, whether that'll fit inside the deck. I'm not sure, but yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, we're into cards I haven't seen now, so these are today's cards.
Nice.
So Surrender, neutral. What is it? Weird. Neutral special. What is that? 8. Yeah, 8. It's a gold card too. Remove 2 armor from all units on a row and damage them by 2.
I've seen this one.
Okay,
Spyro revealed this. Yeah, Spyro revealed this.
It's a
lacerate plus
with
armor for 1 extra provision, right?
Yeah, it's lacerate plus
gold
remove armor.
as well.
Yeah.
I think it'll see play.
Yeah.
Rowdy dwarfs. Anybody?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. True. Yeah.
I like the fact it's a gold and not a bronze as well.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, but I mean, lacerate still sees a decent amount of play, right? This is just sort of...
Yeah. It'd fit into a shoot deck quite nicely, probably.
Yeah, I mean, for 1 provision on a lacerate, it's especially... I mean, all of it depends on how much you're seeing, but like those rowdy dwarfs, like it's going to keep them in line, I guess.
Stop being so rowdy.
Yeah, exactly. Next up, an Ard Feln Light Cavalry Human Soldier, 4 provisions, 2 strength, Nilfgaardian card, and it has a deploy, damage an enemy unit by 2. If it has armor, damage it by 2 again.
I wonder if it has armor after or to begin with. So if it has 2 armor and you hit it for 2 and then it has no armor, do you then do 2 again or not?
I think you would if it let's say it has 2 armor. I think it
Mm,
would do 4 damage,
okay,
just because it's a deploy, so it should all happen at the same time. But I'm not
true.
sure.
Yeah, no, I think you should be right on that one. Yeah,
Oh
it's pretty good.
my god!
If you
Just
scroll
speak to
up,
work.
I have not scrolled up. Okay, this is our last guy. Vladimir von Everick, another neutral card. Some good neutral cards in this expansion. 5 for 7. He's a bandit. Swap a unit's power with armor. Ooh, that's got some. That's got some applications. Swap.
Mate, I just want to hear the guy's voice lines. One of the best characters in any game I've ever played. This geezer, Heart of Stone was like one of my favorite things I've ever played, and this guy was just cracking me up. So if you don't know the story behind it, he, without wanting to spoil anything major, because it's really not, but just to give you a general gist of it, he enters Geralt's body, and they sort of share, and they go to a wedding. That's Vladimir's sort of last day with a body, and he's just in Geralt's body, just chatting up loads of girls and saying inappropriate things. He's a bit of a hero. So it's
Nice.
Olgierd's brother, who is well his late brother, and
Right.
yeah, I'm looking forward to the voice lines.
Cool. Oh,
He is a character,
good
and yeah,
ability too.
yeah, seems like a very cool card. I have no idea what you could do with it, but I'm sure there's something.
Yeah, there's some thinking to do about that one. You can use it on an enemy too, which is pretty sweet. Don't have to target your own unit.
On the big boy, yeah, use it on your enemy's big uh Drager, is it called? The 13 strength
Jurgen.
armor card. Yeah, it's got 1 armor and 13 strength. You just swap
Think.
those around.
Easy.
Don't mind if I do. Yeah,
Oh, I like it.
nice.
Oh well, I think that's it.
Mate.
That's some good cards, man.
Yeah, I enjoyed that a lot. I'm not gonna lie, I was sort of like not that hyped for the expansion, but now I've looked through all the cards. I'm very
Hyped.
excited to get into some deck building.
It's a good time to be hyped
Activities.
because it's out very soon.
It is possibly it's already out when this goes live, right?
Yeah, I'd like to have it out beforehand, but it's going to be tight. I think
Yeah.
I'll
We'll
probably
see.
try and put it out tomorrow, and I'll record just the last few cards if they're out. Otherwise, we'll just have to put it up. But so
Cool.
if you're watching this, and you can probably tell by looking at the video length, if it goes for another 10 minutes, then they're here, and if it ends in 15 seconds, then
Okay.
no.
Shall we wrap up then?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Bye everyone.
That was good. Thanks, man. I guess the conclusion. You're gonna be streaming, I presume, at some point. Maybe.
Yeah, I'll be
Maybe.
streaming. Yeah.
Where can people find you streaming?
Sure.
Judgment.
Twitch.tv/SpecimenGwent. I'll probably be live for like there'll be like 2 hour streams, unfortunately, apart from weekends. But yeah, I'll try and get a few in.
Cool.
For sure.
Awesome. And you can find me at twitch.tv/Zade_95. I'm going to be streaming like all day the day it comes out, probably, and after that, just regular. So
My God. I'll be in chat as well, so
it'll be fun. Hey guys, what up? Future Zade here. Just here to review these last few cards that we did not get a chance to do. So we're going to pick up where we left off yesterday, which was with Vladimir. Moving on to Oligerd. These are the last cards released today. So we've got Oligerd Immortal. He's a neutral card, 7 power, 10 provisions. With the text, Oligerd's power cannot be changed. Yeah, I mean, it's a very cool ability, obviously. Like, having his power not be able to be changed is obviously very strong, and you're resistant to get removal and stuff like that. But he costs 10, and he's 7 for 10, and you can't boost him. Works well with Skellige. Self-wound cards, obviously getting pretty good value on him. But overall, I think he's a bit of a meme card. Not going to see a ton of play, except maybe outside of Skellige, in my opinion. But great art, nonetheless. Iris Shade is another neutral, 5 for 10. Deploy, remove a unit's armor, and boost self by that amount. So that's very, very powerful. Especially in the first week of the expansion. It's going to be probably in everyone's decks. Once armor kind of falls off a bit, which I assume it will, it won't be as good, but it'll be a great tech card against armor, and pretty high point ceiling too. Also just destroys a couple of cards like Jurgen, and cards with, huge amounts of armor. So like living armor, for example. This card just kills living armor and then boosts health by 10, which is pretty insane. Cool card. I like it. Geraldo is back. It's Geralt Axie. 5 for 10 with 2 armor. Deploy, purify, and reset a unit. Doesn't seem insane just on looking at it, but reset is actually a very powerful ability when you consider that, you know, Bloody Baron and Peter for Northern Realms and Nilfgaard respectively are both very commonly played and very good cards. This guy, Geralt, is a bit more expensive, but he does purify the unit as well. So there's a lot of potential. I think he will definitely see some play at some stage, and pretty good last say card, especially if there's a lot of boost going around. Then reset will be a very nice thing to have in your deck for that. Gascon is returned. A Gascon Iron Falcon, another neutral card, 4 for 10, 3 armor. Deploy, create and play a Bronze Bandit card. There's a few good bandits, a lot of them released in this expansion, but there's also some existing ones like the Bomb Heaver that can destroy an artifact, strays a Spyler to move a unit to another row. And there's obviously some other good bandits that have come out with this expansion. So actually I think this is a pretty okay card. Not just a meme card like his predecessor. And it's also not bad in Assimilate. Because you're creating a card that isn't starting in your deck. And you're probably going to get 10 points of value with Assimilate. So I think he's alright. He's actually not bad. Our boy Gascon is back and he's ready to party. Alright, Syndicate, Azar Javid. He is a 3 power, 9 provision unit, profit 3, deploy, spawn a Scarab on this row, tribute 3, spawn 2 Scarabs instead. Scarabs have Defender, so this is the Syndicate Defender card, 1 power, 2 armor, and Doomed, and their Death Wishes gain 2 coins. So they pay for themselves if you've got both, which you probably always will, I don't see why you wouldn't. And obviously having Defender is really powerful. Having 2 of them is pretty powerful, but they are very weak, so, you know, they're not going to be hard to get through. But they might just be that, you know, enough to hold your opponent off for a couple of turns. So, yeah, I think it's very, very good. Probably one of the better Defender cards. I still think the Nilfgaard Defender is probably better, but I think this guy's probably better than all the others. Maybe not quite Northern Realms, but still very good. We got Zoltan Warrior. He's a Scoia'tael, 6 for 12 with 1 armor. Deploy melee, spawn 2 Rowdy Dwarves on this row, and deploy ranged, boost all Rowdy Dwarves by 2. So not just on the row, so boosting all Rowdy Dwarves by 2 is pretty significant, because there's a lot of cards that make them. And if you play melee, you can just get 2. So pretty good versatility. Overall, I think he's going to be a really solid card, but the downside is that he does cost a lot. So I think he will definitely see some play, might even see a lot of play, but he is very high costed. And you can see his birds in the background. That's pretty cool. Of course, I have Figus. He's a 4 for 9 with 2 armor, Defender. Scoia'tael Defender card. Deploy, spawn 2 Rowdy Dwarves on this row. So more Rowdy Dwarf synergy. Probably the weakest Defender card, like on their own, because he's the easiest to remove. But with the Rowdy Dwarves, he's pretty good. At worst, you're getting 8 for 9 with 4 armor on 3 bodies, which is pretty good as well. And there's obviously a lot of synergy going on, so I think this is a pretty good card. And he'll probably see more play than Zoltan, but they'll probably fit into the same deck quite easily. So very, very decent. So we've got Morkvarg, Heart of Terror, Skellige, 5 for 10 with 1 armor. Deploy, damage enemy unit by 1, repeat until target is damaged. Very cool ability, huge point ceiling, especially with armor, going through armor, removing armor, going through super high boosted units, obviously a lot of damage to be done. I'm very interested to see how it interacts with Olgerd here, since his power cannot be changed. We'll definitely be testing that on the first day of the expansion. That'll be funny. But yeah, overall, really cool card. I think it's going to be more than a tech card. There's a lot of chances for you to do a lot of damage with this guy, so I like him. Philippa Blind Fury is a Northern Realms legendary, 1 for 11. Deploy, damage your enemy unit by 2, then damage a random enemy unit by 3, 2, and 1. So overall, you're doing 10 damage with 1 power, so that's 11 for 11, but the last 3 hits are random, which makes this card a lot worse than you might initially think. The initial 4 damage is nice, but 3-2-1 randomly is... It's pretty weak, honestly. Not being able to target your removal is not very good. I'd rather just have Falibor in most cases. A lot higher base power, and you can target all the removal, providing you get a Death Wish on them. Death Blow, sorry. So yeah, I'm not convinced that Philip is that good. If you're just playing it for points, then she's 11 for 11. But even then, there's probably better options. So I don't think Philippa is that good. Who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. Last card, Shani. Human, another Northern Realms. 5 for 9. It's kind of hard to read. With 2 armor, formation, and a whole lot of text. Order, give an allied unit vitality for 1 turn and 1 armor. Charge 1. And inspired, give an allied unit vitality for 2 turns and 1 armor instead. This is pretty cool. So it's like a reverse Hubert. You know, you're giving yourself vitality and armor, which is significant, instead of doing bleed damage. And you've got obviously the option to give this Zeal, or put it in the ranged row and boost by 1, and works well with Demon's leader ability. I think it's a very solid card. Protecting engines, giving them vitality and armor is going to be really nice, and the fact that you can give it charge and do like multiples at once is definitely significant. So I like that a lot. And that's it. So that's going to end our card review. Thanks very much for watching. I know I've already done a bit of an outro earlier, so I'll keep this quick. I'm going to be streaming on release day. I'm doing a subathon, so hope to see you guys there. There'll be a link down below. It's going to be probably about 12 hours from when this video goes live. Maybe a bit more, so I'll be over there, twitch.tv/Zade_95, and I hope you've enjoyed our card review, and thanks for watching Boardside Podcast. We'll be back in 2 weeks for a new episode, and there might even be a special episode before then. I've heard rumours, just wait and see. Thanks everyone so much for listening, wherever you may be, or watching if you're on YouTube, and we'll see you in the next one.